Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you guys are all doing well. This video is going to be about sewing these curtains that I have in the fan. You can see I was just taking them out, and I'm going to be showing you the process from the beginning to end, as well as the next step, and asking for feedback and ideas throughout this whole project. I hope you enjoy this whole video and see what this project has been like. For context, I'm going to be showing you more about this fabric and the sewing technique that I was doing throughout this whole video, as well as when we get to the main thing on the wall and stuff. I do have this fabric, but I did not really show that process. I do want to say that this was not fun, and I wouldn't recommend for anyone that is doing a whole stitching loop around at the bottom instead of just going through a cross stitching like this has been. And I hope you guys, without further ado, let's get started. Bye. Okay, got two cameras running at one to see how that goes. So I have this one right here that's going to show you the kind of the process of it. And yeah, you can see better. So for here, what I've been doing is, you can already see like I have a little stitching and folding them inwards. And what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to show you more on this side. This is more visible. I'm going to be folding it down, kind of like that. And since I've already done this part, I'm going to be working on this little part. And since it's already kind of hard to keep it open, I'm going to take a pen and then push it down here. That way it's already going to be easy for me to do when I work on this top part. And then I'm just going to fold that in like that. And then do it like this. I'm sure that there are like techniques that could be done better for this project. Like, since it's going to be relatively flat, I have a curtain that could be like really fun, like functional idea that will be going along with this. Like, for example, imagine you have this curtain. Like, whenever it's fully done, like this is the bottom and this is the top. Imagine that I can section it up here with a little flap. That way I can put something in here for books. It can be art supplies. It can be really anything. And I think that'll be like a really fun kind of like project to do in the future, as well as since it's already kind of the top part of the curtain and they already have so much design on it, I may not necessarily do more detail for it, but for the other one I may like do some embroidered design, some thread art, some simple like fun stuff, especially when we get more fabrics. I'll probably do more like landscaping. This is just more challenges for me down the road, especially when I have more time on my plate. Yeah, but this is like essentially like the whole process what I was doing, where I like once again I folded it a little bit, put a bobby pin in, and then after that I put this on top to kind of like close it up like that. And I will show you kind of like the final product that I've done, which was this one, but I will definitely do a little bit more in depth whenever we're done with the whole project and whenever it gets installed. That's why I'll probably showing you like how it's going to be installed a little bit. In addition to all that will happen, I've also threaded it through here because I forgot that you need something to kind of still keep it in, otherwise it's going to become more fraying out of here, and so that's just made it a lot more simple for like putting the tube and all that. Yeah. Well, anyways, in that case, well, I'm going to be working on this all the way through, and I will see you later. this whole curtain project has been a really fun work. However, I do feel like it's been a little bit too much on my plate, like a bit off more than I could chew, just because of how time consuming it was, especially in the styling phase. For the checker pattern or stitching at the bottom of it, as well as even stitching through and making sure that the rod connects and work out well throughout this whole challenge. Hey, welcome back. I just finished all of the stitching on this curtain over here, so this is all done, and I definitely made it a lot bigger this time, so hopefully it'll fit. And then this is the piece that we're using for installing into the wall. And what's different about this is, although this is the dowel, okay, now this is like made it a lot more loose, but like once again, this will be relatively tight, and hopefully, yeah, look, it should be fun doing all that. So now let's go put this into the fan and see on how that goes. Before we continue on with this video, I do want to mention that the rod that I showed on is not the rod that we're going to actually be using. The main reason is actually because that wooden dowel that we were using, it is wrapped in tape, and it does reduces friction. However, it wasn't enough for these curtains that we have, and we wanted to find something at the braid recycling that we have in Eugene, Oregon. And we did find some. We did find some like kind of metal rods that is going to help kind of match this kind of thread and collar that we've been having on all of these fabrics. And it's going to be quite an easy like moving back and forth, and we're really excited to show you on what this looks like in the fan. Okay, this is the whole what it looks like on camera, and you can see that it has some connection points here, and it has been really nice filling up this whole space, making it all look nice and pretty up down in here, and it's very easy and very flexible for whatever we're working on in here. There are some challenges which I think is just going to be more of tightening the crimps whenever we need to, because whenever we slide this really hard, this whole thing can come apart. But as for better idea of what it looks like, you can see that we kind of molded this into a little hook that goes in for the rod, as well as something to support it from. That way it wouldn't come apart. And so that way whenever you put this in, it just slides in like that. And that way it makes it more secure for going back and forth, but not really across. And then for the other side, it's just more of a little crimp over here. We have like two little hooks that just tightens over, and we can just always add like make it tighter or make an additional one. The main reason why we did not really add another endpoint on this side is actually because we may want to take these curtains out in someday in the future, and it'll be a lot more impossible if we have that installed as it is down on this side. Hello, now for the updates of this whole video and why I even kind of did this in the first place was actually because originally we had cabinet doors for the gear closet below, and that made it really impossible to open and close when the bed was fully pulled out, as well as things were looking a little bit messy with these clothes that on display, and that way we're gonna have to hide it and made it a lot more prettier. In addition to all that, I do have a video that I have already posted on brainstorming, and in there is a more in-depth video on kind of like what's my idea or my next plan, and also like what's the potential for working with these fabrics. I will say that the fabric that has more of the clouds and the flowers and stuff we saw earlier on, that is probably going to be not really touched and maybe alone. However, we may do like patches, we may do stuff if we find some of those really interesting along our travel. But I would say that for the curtain that's down here, this really checkered blue pattern. It makes a really good backdrop for any kind of landscaping scene, and I may in the next couple weeks or months to be able to do some drawings and sketches and figuring out what kind of layout, as well as figure out the materials for it, which I will say is going to be a very interesting exploration, because we're not only just going to be finding materials local in the vicinity of where we travel, but also just trying to find something more unique and a lot more interesting, as well as, and those are the kind of stuff you will see in the more in-depth on the brainstorming video. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I hope everyone has a lovely day. Bye. Also, like and subscribe, and use the push the notifications for more videos that's going to be coming along in the next couple weeks. I'll be doing a lot more like art and updates, because I have a lot of plans going on for what I'm going to be doing. To maybe potentially do some fabric shopping, to potentially doing some explorations around town and communities, just because we're finally back on the road and we're going to be doing a lot more fun plans and exploration.